Robert Redford was one of the greatest names in modern Hollywood. The 89-year-old actor died early this morning at his home in Utah. That's according to his publicist.
Robert Redford is one of Hollywood's most enduring icons, a legend whose career stretched across 6 decades, reshaping cinema through his acting, directing, and his founding of the Sundance Film Festival. When the day comes that Hollywood gathers to honor him, fans will expect to see the brightest stars and closest friends pay tribute to the man who defined an era of film. But behind the glamour and accolades lies a story few outside the industry know. There is one actor who will almost certainly not appear at Robert Redford's funeral. Why? Because beneath the polished surface of Hollywood, rivalries, grudges, and fractured friendships run deep. Redford was admired by millions, but he wasn't without conflict. Over the years, his career intersected with some of the most powerful and influential actors of his time. While many of those relationships blossomed into lifelong bonds, at least one ended in silence, resentment, and a quiet feud that neither man ever fully resolved. This is not the story of Redford's many triumphs, nor his public image as a gentleman of Hollywood. This is the story of a fractured relationship, one that shaped how Redford was perceived by his peers and left wounds that never fully healed. As the industry reflects on his extraordinary life, the absence of one actor in particular will raise eyebrows and remind us that even legends like Redford carried private battles to when the name Robert Redford is spoken. It immediately stirs memories of golden cinema, timeless performances, and the unmistakable charm of a man who defined an era of Hollywood. From his breakout roles in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting, to his career as a director and the founder of the Sundance Film Festival, Redford became more than just an actor. He was a cultural icon whose influence reached beyond the silver screen. His passing has prompted an outpouring of tributes from fans, colleagues, and admirers across the world. Movie lovers, old and young alike, have paused to reflect on the impact of his artistry and the values he championed throughout his life. As news of his death spread, preparations began for a funeral that many expect will resemble more of a global tribute than a private ceremony. Hollywood's biggest names are preparing to pay their respects to the man who opened doors for independent filmmakers and left behind a body of work that will continue to inspire generations. It is not just the actors and directors who owe their careers to him, but entire communities of storytellers who found a voice through his vision. The Sundance Film Festival, born from Redford's dream of celebrating authentic raw cinema, has become a beacon for talent worldwide. In this light, his funeral is not just a farewell, but a gathering that symbolizes the power of storytelling and the shared bond of art. Yet, amidst the flood of names expected to attend, there is one glaring absence, an actor who will not be present at Robert Redford's funeral. Hollywood thrives on stories of friendships, rivalries, and the complex bonds forged behind the scenes. Redford himself was no stranger to these dynamics. While he enjoyed long-standing partnerships with stars such as Paul Newman, Meryl Streep, and Jane Fonda, there were also fractures in his career that revealed the human side of an otherwise larger-than-life figure. The absence of this particular actor is not merely a scheduling issue, but a matter tied to deep personal history, one that adds a layer of intrigue to the already emotional atmosphere surrounding Redford's passing. This missing presence has sparked conversations within the industry. Why would someone so closely tied to Redford's story choose not to attend such a monumental farewell? Was it a decision born from lingering tension, a private conflict, or a personal choice to grieve from afar? In Hollywood, where reputations are polished and narratives are carefully managed, the absence of a single figure can say as much as the words spoken by those who do attend. For fans, this mystery only deepens the fascination with Redford's life. His story was always more than just red carpets and applause. It was about resilience, integrity, and the courage to follow his instincts even when it defied the studio system. His career demonstrated that being true to one's vision sometimes meant clashing with others, and sometimes those clashes left scars that time did not completely heal. As the world prepares to honor Redford, the focus remains on celebrating his legacy rather than dwelling on absences. But still, whispers about the one actor we won't be seeing are unavoidable. It serves as a reminder that even icons are not immune to complicated relationships. For Robert Redford, whose work often explored themes of humanity and imperfection, perhaps this is a fitting final chapter, one that acknowledges not only his triumphs, but also the very real complexities of life. As the entertainment world turns its gaze toward Robert Redford's farewell, the list of stars preparing to attend reads like a who's who of Hollywood history. Jane Fonda, his frequent co-star, has already expressed her deep admiration, calling Redford the perfect partner on and off screen. Tributes have also poured in from younger actors who credit Redford with inspiring their craft, acknowledging the path he paved for storytellers unwilling to conform to Hollywood's predictable mold. Yet even as fans anticipate a gathering of legends, one name remains absent from the guest list, a name that once shared the same stage as Redford, but whose presence now seems unimaginable. This actor, whose identity we will soon uncover, represents more than just a missing chair at a funeral. Their absence speaks to the deeper reality that even among the greats, friendships can falter, egos can clash, and wounds can go unresolved. Redford's career spanned decades, and throughout that time, he encountered not just allies, but also rivals who challenged his vision or his methods. Some of these tensions played out quietly, away from the cameras, while others became the subject of whispers in industry circles. And in Hollywood, whispers often carry more weight than truth. It is no secret that Redford valued independence above all else. He resisted being boxed in by the studio system, choosing instead to carve his own path. That very independence, while admired by many, occasionally ruffled feathers. To those who preferred the traditional Hollywood machine, Redford's refusal to compromise sometimes came across as arrogance. To others, it was a beacon of authenticity. The actor who won't be seen at his funeral fell into the former category, someone who saw Redford not as a partner but as a competitor. Their relationship traces back to a time when Hollywood was undergoing seismic shifts. Redford's star was rising rapidly, and the roles he chose seemed to define the new American male. Rugged yet thoughtful, handsome yet layered with depth. This put him in direct comparison with other leading men of his generation, and not all of them appreciated the shadow his success cast. At a certain point, admiration gave way to quiet resentment, and opportunities for reconciliation never quite materialized. What makes this absence even more striking is the fact that funerals often serve as moments of closure, a final chance to set aside differences in favor of honoring a legacy. The decision of this actor to stay away underscores just how deep their divide was. Some in the industry have speculated that attending might have felt disingenuous, while others believe personal pride still holds sway, even in the face of loss. Whatever the reason, it ensures that their name will be as much a topic of conversation as the tributes spoken at the service. Fans, of course, are left to wonder how such a rift could persist when so many others maintained warm, enduring bonds with Redford. Part of the answer lies in Redford's personality itself. While charming and respected, he was also fiercely principled. He stood his ground, whether it was in the boardrooms of Hollywood or in his activism for the environment and independent art. Not everyone could walk alongside such conviction without feeling overshadowed. And so, while Redford's funeral will bring together generations of artists to celebrate his indelible impact, the actor who won't be there provides a striking counterpoint to the narrative of unity. Their absence is not simply about a personal choice. It is a reminder that even among icons, relationships can fracture and never fully mend. The missing name is none other than Warren Beatty, a Hollywood giant in his own right and one of the few men who matched Robert Redford in charm, ambition, and cultural influence during the golden years of their careers. At first glance, their paths seemed destined to run parallel, perhaps even intersect in collaborations that would have thrilled audiences. Both were handsome leading men with a taste for meaningful roles, both commanded box offices, and both carried reputations as perfectionists. Yet rather than fostering camaraderie, these similarities sowed the seeds of quiet rivalry. Their tension began in the late 1960s, a period when both actors were on the cusp of superstardom. Redford had just proven his worth with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, while Beatty was making waves with Bonnie and Clyde, a film that redefined Hollywood storytelling. The industry buzzed with comparisons. Who was the better actor? Who had more depth? Who carried greater influence? Such comparisons, though flattering in one sense, placed the two men in competition that neither seemed eager to resolve. Behind closed doors, stories circulated of projects that one pursued only to see the other swoop in, whether by choice or coincidence. Redford's preference for socially conscious roles clashed with Beatty's vision of cinema as both art and political statement. To many, it seemed like two alpha personalities.